Greetings, GISD community. This is Dr. Stewart with another Student Spotlight. This afternoon, I have with me Blake Britton, 8th grader here at Gainesville Junior High School. Blake, how you doing?
Good, by you?
I'm great. Thank you for being here. With that being said, hey, let's jump right into our questions. So Blake, tell us about your family, mom, dad, brother, sister, pets.
I live with my mom and stepdad. They're amazing parents, and I also have my brother Tyler, which he's at the intermediate right now, and then 2 rescued pit bulls named Bo and Dean.
Okay, pit bulls. Is that your preferred breed of dog?
Yeah.
Those are some beautiful dogs. Beautiful dogs.
They're both navy blue pit bulls.
Okay. So now, you know, that we're at the tail end of the school year, I know people are starting to think about the summer and whatnot. Do you have any trips or anything in particular you're looking forward to this summer?
My family plans on going to Colorado and either camping or getting a cabin. We don't know which one yet, but we're going to whitewater raft down there.
Oh, wow, that sounds exciting. That's a bucket list item. You know, I'm kind of scared of it, but it looks like it's very fun to do. So, all right, sounds exciting. So, what is one place you hope to travel one day that you haven't been to?
I really want to go to Yellowstone and see Old Faithful.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always been into wildlife, so I wanted to go to one of the most famous national parks in the country.
So Blake, now really focusing back upon you, if you had to describe yourself in just a few words, what would they be?
Probably caring, compassionate, and I love to help people. I don't really know what to put as a word for that, but.
Okay. So now, you know, of course, we've talked about a lot of stuff and things that, you know, here in the school. Like, what does Blake do outside of school? What are your interests or your hobbies that you like to do while you're not here in school?
I love just being outside in nature, anything to do with water, and building Legos, sort of. And then I also love gaming with my friends after school.
Okay. What game are you playing?
Probably Call of Duty.
Okay. So what is your favorite TV show or movie?
I've always loved the original 6 films of Star Wars. Don't really watch TV anymore, though.
Mm-hmm.
But I just loved all the fight scenes and different things in those movies ever since I've been little.
When you say the original, Return of the Jedi, The Empire Strikes Back, the original Star Wars.
Yeah.
Man, you're speaking my language there, man. You're speaking my language.
The prequels in the original trilogy.
Yes. Okay. So Blake, as an 8th grader now, and on the verge of going off into high school, you know, what personal achievement are you most proud of right now?
I have been accepted into dual credit for NCTC, and I would say that's probably my biggest achievement so far.
You know, my biggest piece of advice to you, Blake, would be to take as much dual credit classes as you can. You know, of course, we have the Collegiate Academy and you have a Core Complete. That only helps make things easier, especially as you transition out of high school and into college. You could place yourself in a position where you go into college with already 2 years of credits. So take full advantage of that. I'm glad to hear you're in that program. So speaking of dual credit, let's focus about school. Let's talk some about school. What is your favorite class or teacher here at Gainesville Junior High, and why?
I'm tied with about 2. I have Miss Santi and Miss Knight for my favorite teachers. Both of them are caring and compassionate and love to help people, and both of them make learning enjoyable instead of just telling us exactly what we need to do and how to do it. They either make games on how to do those different things, like competitions between the classes, or they have something fun to go with the activity.
So tell me about the academic opportunities that you chose to take advantage of here at the junior high school. For example, like advanced academics, theater, athletics, etc.
I am in all honors classes. I already said I'm in dual credit, and I am in Principles of Infotech.
Are you involved in any extracurricular activities in school or outside of school?
I'm in UIL, I'm in student council, Leopard leaders, junior vase, chess club.
All right, Blake, if you could change one thing about your school day, what would it be and why?
I would probably switch my art and history classes so that all my core classes are at the very beginning of the day when I'm most focused, and then have all of my what are they called? Electives at the very end of the day.
How has your experience been here at Gainesville Junior High School the past 2 years?
These past 2 years, I've been accepted into student council both years, so that's definitely pushed me forward a little bit. And then I have all honors both years. Have been amazing student. Love the teachers. They're so friendly and kind to everybody.
Okay. So now that you're at the tail end of your junior high career, I mean, we're inside of the last 6 weeks, and here in a few short weeks we'll be transitioning on to high school. What are you looking forward to the most as you transition to high school next year?
I'm really excited to compete in the UIL and VASE competitions at the high school level.
Okay. So now, Blake, again, as an 8th grader, you got, 4 more years of school, and I'm telling you, those 4 years are going to fly by. You're going to hit the campus next year as a high school freshman, and before you know it, you're going to be a high school senior and then out into the real world. So let's talk about the future. Do you have any particular college or career plans after you graduate from high school?
I'm already enrolled in NCTC for dual credit, so once I'm done with that, I'm probably going to, through Texas Workforce, I've learned of a program with Texas Instruments that'll pay for all my college and everything for my engineering degree, and then I'll be able to work there full-time while I'm getting my degree.
Well, Blake, I'll tell you what's really impressive. I mean, you're an impressive young man altogether. But what's really impressive is that as an 8th grader, you've already kind of mapped out, or began the process of investigating different options to help you get to, your end goal, and that's getting an engineering degree. That's super impressive, man. That's impressive. All right.
If TI doesn't accept me, I'll be able to also go to Rice University and get my engineering degree that way.
Well, that is awesome. So Blake, you've officially answered all of the questions that I have for you today. I always like to give my students an opportunity to ask me a question. I've been asking you a lot of questions, so this is the point in the interview where we do a role reversal and I allow the students to ask a question of myself. Do you by chance have a question for me today?
Why did you start teaching in the first place?
Why did I start teaching? That's a great question. Initially, when I was in college, I was a business major. I had my thoughts, and my plan was to become a certified public accountant and do that for the rest of my life. For me, it was the summer of my junior year. I stayed for summer school. I didn't go home for the summer, so I stayed at campus. And I volunteered at a Boys and Girls Club. And through that experience, working with boys and girls, I had the 7 and 8-year-old group, so I had little bitty ones. I had a blast, working with kids. We did academic things, we did athletic things, and so I found at the end of the summer, I realized how much I enjoyed kids, and so much so that when I went back to my college, when I went back in the fall semester, I changed my major, and haven't looked back ever since. So for me, I got into education because I wanted to make a difference in the lives of students. You have to know a lot more about me to really understand kind of my why. But I was the kids that I had the opportunity to work with during that summer. As I reflect back upon that, I was that kid. Come from a very impoverished background, product of a single parent household, and the list of things just goes on and on and on. And I fit every one of those. All of those indicators describe Des Stewart. So I got into education to help kids, regardless of where you come from in life, regardless of if you're at home with mom and dad, or mom, or just dad, or grandma, or brother or sister, regardless of the circumstances that life may have thrown at our young people, I wanted to serve as a beacon of hope for our kids to say that, if Des Stewart can make it to where he is current day, any of my 3,100 kids here in Gainesville ISD can far exceed what I've achieved, and I want to help them get to that point. So that, in a nutshell, is kind of when I transitioned to education, but why I really got into education and why I continue to do what I do today.
Why did you go into admin?
I kind of got pushed into admin, actually. I was a classroom teacher. I taught algebra and geometry, and I was a coach. And was absolutely loving what I did. You know, I enjoyed going to work each and every day, and I say that sincerely. I got up every morning with a smile on my face. I didn't dread going to work. I loved going to work because I knew the work that was being done in my classroom, but also on the basketball court, was making a difference in the lives of young men and young ladies. My principal actually kind of pushed me to administration. You know, for whatever reasons, you know, the kids perceived, you know, I was a coach, and the kids perceived me in a different light, and I never had problems out of my kids in my class. If there was a teacher experiencing some issues, I could go in the classroom and, you know, resolve the issue. I spoke to a lot of parents. My principal would come pull me out of class to talk to parents and whatnot. And she's like, you need to become an assistant principal and principal. And of course, at the time, I had no aspirations of going into administration, none whatsoever. But she kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And finally, I went back and got my master's degree, really just to quiet her down. And I applied for an AP job, got an assistant principal job, and absolutely loved it, because as a classroom teacher, I can only impact the class, the number of kids I teach. So the 140 kids that I taught plus my 30 kids that I coached. So that 170 kids were the kids, but that was my impact circle. When I became an assistant principal, that impact circle grew to 600. When I became a principal, and I was an intermediate principal, I had 1,200 kids in my school. Middle school principal, I had 900 at my intermediate. I became a middle school principal, I had about 1,300, 1,200. And then as a high school principal, I had about 2,300 kids. So that impact circle grew. And now as a superintendent of schools, the decisions that I make, the interactions that I experience impact 3,100 plus kids here in GISD. So that's kind of the long story of how I got into admin and why I got into admin is, again, to continue to make a difference in the lives of our students. Well, Blake, I appreciate you for joining me this afternoon. Great, you did a great job.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Gainesville community, Blake Britton, 8th grade student here at Gainesville Junior High School.